Hello, welcome back to the Two Dudes Talking Motorcycle podcast. Sorry we slowed down a little bit there, but we're still at it. It's been a little bit of a busy month, and I'm tired, so this might go in a weird direction, but we'll see how it goes. Hi, Gleb.
Hey, Mitch, how are you?
As I said, I'm tired, but I'm good.
Me too.
Yeah. So.
And like Mitch said, it's been a kind of a busy month for both of us because we just had a lot of stuff going on.
And not podcast related.
Not podcast related, but you're moving.
Yep.
And you're traveling next week.
Yep, I will be in the UK next week.
So if any of our listeners are from there, hit them up and go to the Ace Cafe with them in London.
I am checking out the Ace Cafe. I can't wait. So
I'm very excited to hear about it when you get back.
Yeah.
And I might be starting a new job soon, so we're just all we're all over the place. Yep. So we're running a little bit behind this month, but hopefully in October we can bounce back to our usual 2-week schedule.
Things should settle down in October. Also, too, with my move, we're gonna have like a more dedicated recording space, and so
that'd be really nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna set a corner aside for all that, so we don't have to do this whole setup situation, and
that would be very good.
Yeah.
So a few changes happening, which is why we're a little behind schedule this month. And I was traveling last month, so everything kind of got switched up. Yeah. But we're back.
We're back,
and today we're going to be talking about.
We're going to talk about motorcycles and media, so film and TV or TV movies. Yeah, just media,
things like that,
cartoons even. So
and just a heads up, neither of us did crazy amounts of research for this topic. He did most of it, all of it. I did absolutely nothing. So
there's really no news that we really had time to look up for this episode. But in place of news, something cool I learned was the Triumph Speed Twin, the new one, is lighter than the T120, has better suspension brakes, and a little bit more power to it. So I've been saying, I want a T120 black. Well, now it's like, okay, this bike is also a Bonneville, so very cool bike.
We do actually have some news because BMW revealed their new F900 GS motorcycles.
Right. Yeah. Call back to our first episode. It looks kind of like the Transalp.
The F900 GS, the base like lighter off-road oriented one.
Yeah.
Does look like the headlight reminds me of the Transalp, which is a little, but yeah,
not our favorite.
BMW did announce those 3 bikes, so it's the F850 GS, F900 GS, and F900 GS Adventure. And I don't know why, but the F900 GS does not look like the other two. And it kind of did away with that iconic square headlight that the GSs have on that one and used their one from like the F900RR.
Something like,
or RS, like their naked bike.
Yeah.
On this one, and it just reminds me of the Transalp. It's just like a very boring looking headlight for like a very utilitarian looking bike.
For that genre of their bikes, it's like just that typical GS.
It's just so iconic.
Light. It just looked better. On that type of bike.
To me, I just did not care for how it looked. But besides the looks, the specs, at least on the GS, so they went away from having a steel tank to a plastic tank on just the base GS. So it's significantly lighter than the previous generation model. It has a bump in power to, I think, 90 something or 100. Let me pull it up real quick here.
That'd be cool. So while you're looking that up, so I learned something new about the Triumph Street Triple, so I thought I could at least share that out there. Or not Street Triple, the Speed Twin. So to me, like, if I was in the market for a second bike, because I love my Scrambler, but I would like something more street anyway. But that was me kind of rambling about that because I thought it was new information. Did you find it?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
So the capacity's been bumped up by about 50, just under 50 cc's to 895 cc's, and higher horsepower and higher torque. So now it's got 105 horsepower, which is a pretty decent jump because I think before that it was like 80 something. Yeah. And it's got a lot more. It's got a little bit more torque as well. So in general, it just has more power, and also on the F850 GS, the new one, they bumped it up to about like 87 horsepower and stuff. And like I said, so with the GS, the weight has been reduced by about 14 kilograms. I'm not sure how many that is in pounds because its website is not listing pounds, but
But some weight.
Some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weight reduction.
Yeah. So
lighter plastic fuel tank, and just overall, I think they also redesigned the swing arm a little bit to further reduce the weight. And they come with a Krapovich exhaust.
Oh, it comes with that?
It comes with it.
That's some
to
money.
further reduce reduce some weight. So
I mean, that's some money for sure.
Yeah.
Those are expensive.
So it's kind of a cool looking bike. I just wish it didn't have that headlight. Because that headlight, I don't know, it just looks so... It's kind of just boring to me.
Yeah, like the rest of it looks good. Just put a bag on its head. And,
exactly.
It's a GS. Yes.
But significant weight reduction, so that should bring it to be more competitive. With the weight reduction and the power increase, it should bring it more in line with like power to weight ratio of like the Tiger 900. Was it the Honda... The Tenere, I don't think it can match a Tenere because that thing is light. Yeah. Super light. But basically, it's going to kind of bring it more in line with the competition and give it a little bit more of an edge. So it has a bit more pep in its step.
Yeah. It's just a nice little update.
It is a nice little update. Fully adjustable upside down shocks, now made by Showa. And we like Showa because we both have it on our bikes.
Yeah, maybe with that new headlight, maybe it's a little bit more aerodynamic because it looks
maybe it was a weight savings too. Who knows?
It does look a little sleeker. Like it does look better than the Transalp.
Yeah,
but
I do agree
it's
on
just
that.
not the GS.
Comes with heated grips, standard, which is nice. So and then the rest of the stuff's pretty similar, but it does have their you can option it out with their full electronic package with the off-road riding modes, their enduro mode, switchable ABS, and all of that stuff as well.
Yeah, like the more I look at it, it really doesn't look bad. Like I'm not trying to dog on it. It's still like a.
It still doesn't look as good as like that headlight though.
Yeah, that looks nice.
For the F900 GS Adventure, so that's going to be their bigger one. That one still, I think, from what I've read, it still retains like the steel or the metal gas tank. So I don't think it's going to have as much of a weight reduction.
Yeah.
But it does say new LED headlight, new side panels. So they've redesigned like some of the side panels for the fuel tank and stuff to make it more aerodynamic and to offer better protection from the wind and stuff like that.
Nice.
And it comes with the Ride Pro. So it does come with the fully adjustable upside down telescopic forks by Showa, but you can upgrade it to have electronically adjustable suspension as well, which I think is kind of cool.
That's cool.
And it comes with like the frames for the panniers and things like that, just like the old GS Adventure.
Neat.
And it's got the big 6-gallon fuel tank.
Yeah.
And then the F800 GS, that's kind of like their more baseline.
Yeah.
Smaller or lower output, smaller, cheaper motorcycle. So it doesn't have as many fancy features, but they did upgrade the TFT on it from just like a more basic LCD to a full-on TFT, which is actually really nice.
Is this kind of like their update to like to compete with like the Tiger? And
I think so. It's kind of just to bring it more in line with the competition, which Tiger is the big one for that, because the Tiger was significantly lighter and had a bit more power than the previous generation F850 GS. The one thing I think is cool is that they're giving you the option to add electronically adjusted suspension, which is something that you don't get on the Tiger 900. You have to step up to the 1200 to get that. But to get something like that on a midweight adventure bike, I think is actually pretty nice. And there's probably going to be some debate of people like, oh, it's electronic, it's more prone to failure and stuff like that. But at the same time, like having those riding modes and being able to switch that stuff on the fly, I can see the convenience in that.
Yeah, and I think like especially too nowadays, like your electronics probably aren't that much more susceptible to failure than a mechanical.
Yeah.
Like at the same like if you're talking like suspension, like electronic, or whether it's adjustable electronic or not, like your fork seals are gonna wear out. It's not gonna. So
one thing I did think was interesting. So they do have a 6.5-inch TFT, no Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto. You really need to take an example from Honda over here to get that. Your favorite, they have keyless ride, so you push a button, and I know how much you love that.
That's
stuff.
wonderful. That's perfect.
But the one thing I did think was interesting, they do have a button that's like an emergency call button. So if you have an accident, if you fall or something happens, you can press that button and it'll automatically contact
Is that a separate subscription from the heated seats, or is that just their cars?
They don't list that, so I'm not sure how exactly it works or what service it uses, but it just has that button. It is an optional equipment, but like,
nice.
But I think that's kind of a cool thing to have, just because, you know, especially if it's a off-road oriented bike, you can have that like reassurance that if something were to happen to you, you can at least
get in touch.
You can at least get in touch with someone with a press of a button. So it kind of reminds me of like the OnStar.
Oh yeah, that's cool
on cars. But I think that's kind of like the biggest news. And Triumph did show a little bit more of their.
That's right, the dirt bike.
Their little motocross dirt bike.
I lied. We do have news.
You can see.
You can actually see it now.
You can see it, but they still haven't released any specs, weight, power, nothing. It's just quick.
It's like breaking news. It looks like a dirt bike.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So. Hopefully we'll see
some cool stunts in the video.
Yeah, I wish I could ride like that.
I know, right? So, well, how about we escape the news section to start talking about film?
Okay.
And we can start with the movie The Great Escape. I'm sorry. Anyway, so if you know motorcycles, if you know Triumph or Scramblers, even if you don't, you probably heard of Steve McQueen back in the day. He was in the film The Great Escape. Things like a World War II prisoner camp.
I have never seen it.
Oh, yeah. I've seen bits of it here and there. I've obviously seen the famous jump. So, yeah, we'll just start kind of there. Like, I know there are movies before this movie that had motorcycles, and we're going to talk about some of those. And a lot of these films I haven't seen, but I somehow know the bikes. So, but anyway, Steve McQueen, he did do all of his riding except for, like, the big famous jump. And, you know, in terms of bringing motorcycle and all that stuff out to the real world, like one of the new trims for the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE, you can get the Steve McQueen edition.
The current one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
It looks really nice. I mean, it's just I don't think there's anything super special about it other than the cosmetics.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get a Steve McQueen edition Scrambler. Obviously the 1200 is going to be a lot bigger than what he rode in the film. So, but his stuntman, Bud Ekins, who did the actual jump, Triumph also had a line, I think for the T120 or the T100, there was a Bud Ekins line, of like, just, again, it was just cosmetics and like tribute or
like the paint job and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
But anyway, the bike that Steve McQueen rode, it was the Triumph TR6 Trophy Bird. And I don't know if that one had any cut for a Scrambler, but Steve McQueen is kind of like associated with like the Scrambler picture.
Okay.
So, you know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I think that was like a good way to go to move
Jump
off from
into it. And how big was the jump?
It was 60 feet.
Wow. That's crazy.
Over a fence.
Over a fence, okay.
But that was by his stuntman. But according to this article, that Steve McQueen did pretty much all of his riding in the films besides that. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Anyone who knows Triumphs or just bikes, I'm sure most people, especially older riders, are going to know about Steve McQueen. And,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, so that's one, like, I haven't seen it. I would still call that, like, maybe one of the lesser known films, you know? And I'm not going in any sort of order here. And if you don't want to hear me, like, just slobber all over Triumph's name of just how awesome they are. So we can talk about a fictional bike that was operational.
Oh, yeah, the one from The Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. I think I remember...
the Bat Pod.
The Bat Pod. I did not know that's what it was called.
I thought
I'm also not surprised. I was... The Bat Bike.
Yeah, no, I grew up on like the animated series as a kid.
Bat Cycle.
I thought it was like the Bat Bike or the Bat Cycle.
Batcycle.
The Batcycle, yeah. You know.
No, that thing did look pretty cool, but from those movies, it's kind of funny because, like,
I think it was like semi-operational.
Like, looking at the picture for the viewers, you see that right there. Look at those tires. They are absolutely massive.
She thick,
and those are straight up car tires. And I honestly don't know how that thing manages to even, like,
monster
take
truck tires,
take a corner or anything like that.
That's why I said probably semi-operational.
Yeah, I think it's just meant to go in like one straight line, and that's because that's all I'm seeing.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure in the movie he looks like he just rode it in a straight line with like a slight turn somewhere.
Yeah, or if it was on a track, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, because I know like the vehicle, like the car.
The car was actually built. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, which is pretty cool. But they did build 6 of these.
Wow.
of the bat pods. So, you're a collector and you have a lot of money. I mean, I
Go
wouldn't
ask Christopher Nolan for one.
I don't have the space for that, but so
I'm too scared to ride it.
I know, right?
Are the guns functional?
Yeah, that's going to be a deal breaker, right? It's like
we're American.
yeah, right.
If it's got guns and not functional, we ain't gonna buy it.
We're gonna buy it. Are you kidding me? So,
can you scroll up a little bit?
Yeah,
There's
of course.
The
Terminators.
the Star Trek one.
Oh yeah,
So
there
the
was
police hover cruiser, and this is okay. I know, like, the Star Trek J.J. Abrams one, the very first one.
Yeah.
There's probably gonna be like, oh, that movie sucked. If you're a classic Trekkie or whatever,
Yeah.
maybe you liked it. I love that movie because I think it was a really good sci-fi film.
Yeah.
And that was like my first real introduction to like the Star Trek universe, because I never watched like the older series and stuff. But I remember watching this scene of that cop chasing down, and I thought it was the coolest thing, because like got this hover bike and he's just like whoosh, comes in and swoops in around them and then chases him down and stuff. But it's cool to see that on there.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's obviously a prop. It's not designed over anything.
Yeah.
But speaking of like sci-fi and stuff, I mentioned this while we were getting ready. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm pretty sure what sparked my interest in motorcycles as a kid, even though I didn't ride till I was an adult, was Star Wars Return of the Jedi, the speeder bike chase through Endor,
Yeah.
This might get a little too nerdy for some people. I don't know, but
No, I think it was a really cool chase scene. And like,
yeah,
you ever feel whenever you're riding on your motorcycle and you're like, you're doing like the weave out of cars, or you take a turn.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're in a movie? Well, it's super cool because you kind of can feel like that lean. You don't get that in a car and stuff, but you're kind of like, vroom, and then you like level it back out and then zoom away.
Right. And like, I was gonna think too is like from Star Wars, when I'd ride my bike as a kid, even just my pedal bike, I'd be like, I'd pretend like I was on a speeder bike from Star Wars, Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that like kind of sparked that.
Okay,
like,
that's pretty cool.
I don't know for sure. Maybe I'll unlock some childhood memory that also got me interested in motorcycles. But no, like because that was awesome to see.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool scene, and no, I can definitely see that. That doing it, like,
and that's kind of like why I want to talk about like media and motorcycles. Well, for some reasons, but it's like more often than not, I'm pretty sure media is going to be. It has influenced a lot of people to ride.
100%. I mean, like, I got the idea to get a motorcycle. It wasn't from any specific movie, but it was from a YouTube video from a couple of my favorite travel vloggers, and they did a motorcycle trip.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it clicked in my head. I'm like, I want to do that. That looks like so much fun. And that's what got me interested in motorcycles from that point.
Right. And who could ever forget Ghost Rider with Nick Cage?
Not me. Not me.
Like best film ever, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. I've only seen that movie once, but it was like entertaining to watch. It was kind of cheesy in a lot of parts, but
I watched it back in high school, dating myself a little bit, but I worked at a movie theater and I watched it because like, motorcycle skulls. You know? So it was like,
I think I was in junior high then, so
yeah. But no, it's just like things like that, and you get pretty interested with stuff, and then now that we're real motorcycle nerds, we'll see movies or TV shows and be like, oh, I know that bike
every time.
Yeah. I remember I tried watching a show. It was like a crime show, and there was like a dude who was I'm not going to go into the full thing. I don't remember, but there was a scene. He was like riding his bike at night, and this will kind of dip into the myth idea that we're going to get to later. But he was riding at night on the highway, and he's just going like fast. He's getting all the way into like 50th gear. It's
the
shifting
Fast
out.
and Furious gearbox.
Yeah, exactly. But it's at nighttime, and he's able to turn off his headlight, like all lights. So he's just like going in the dark. And I was like, and even in that dark scene, I was like, that's a BMW R9T. And it was like another scene of a bike passing of the silhouette. It's like, that's the Scrambler one.
Just get into it.
Yeah.
And you can just recognize them, and you're looking for them. That's the thing.
Yeah, right. So it's just like, yeah. So now that I'm really into motorcycles, like more often than not, I'd be like, oh, I know that bike.
That's pretty much how I am too.
God forbid you're walking next to me like on the sidewalk around town and I see a motorcycle. It's like, Oh, a
Or
Ducati
driving
desert sled.
driving in the car, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
I was walking. I went and took my car in for an oil change the other day or last week, and it's just right across the street from my house. So then I just dropped it off and then walked back home.
Yeah.
And as I was crossing the street, there was a guy on a Ducati
Yeah.
Panigale, like right there at the
Panigale.
light, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's a Panigale. I was trying to see if it was the V2 or the V4.
Right.
I couldn't really tell because it's a little far away, but no, I get the feeling you're just always like looking out for them because it's fun.
Yeah.
You're always like curious to see what other people are riding,
Right. And
so then you can judge them on their poor choices.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then you get into like, like more iconic stuff like cartoons or, sci-fi stuff. And you're like, yeah, you're not going to see that bike on the street, but you know that bike.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Like I don't really watch anime. Like I haven't. But I'm familiar with Akira. I know that bike. It's like this thing.
Oh okay.
It's an anime, but it's like a red. I would say it's like the best representation of a sci-fi Goldwing. It's a rolling couch. It's a rolling couch.
Minus the panniers though.
Yeah, minus the panniers, of course. But no, you can just kind of go through like your favorite shows, and you'll just kind of realize things.
I can't remember what show this was on, but I remember there was like a show I watched once. It was kind of like in the near future, not like crazy. I want to say it's iRobot, but I don't think it was iRobot. But they had like a motorcycle.
There is a bike in iRobot.
Wait, no, I'm actually thinking of Star Trek. I'm thinking of the J.J. Abrams Star Trek because there's a scene where Captain Kirk or Chris Pine, he rolls up to join Starfleet at the shipyard.
Yeah, that's
and he's
right.
like riding a bike, and
It's
it
a
has
futuristic bike.
Yeah, but it has wheels. It's not a hover bike.
Yeah.
And it's got wheels. They don't have spokes and stuff. They're just attached like a point on top of the bike.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the wheel is just like wide open.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was like,
see, it's just stuff like that.
yeah.
And I was like,
I remember that. I was like, that looks pretty cool.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and honestly, like, even now that I own a bike and stuff, but like before I even own one, seeing someone like ride up on the bike, park in, like hop off and just walk away, it always looked badass.
Yeah.
And, I try to be as badass as I can getting off my bike, but then usually I have a helmet and gear and I'm all sweaty.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever look as badass as I think I do.
I probably look stinky and tired.
Yeah. Yeah. As we're trying to like.
If you have facial hair with a full face helmet, you just get like a nice little flare up of whiskers.
Yeah.
So the first thing I got to do is like when I take my helmet off, I was like, oh, I don't want to look crazy, so I got to like mat it down.
When I had my when my hair gets longer and stuff, or I had my other style.
Oh yeah.
Because I put the helmet on and like once
crunches it.
No, it doesn't crunch it. So it takes like one. Like if it's like parted one direction, it like slides it this way. So when I take it off, my hair is just like,
oh yeah,
it's like flopping to one side or the other because it like stays that way.
Yeah, so
which will bring us to a movie tropes.
We'll get
a little
to
bit
that
later.
Yeah.
So what are the fun ones you got there?
There's a few on here. I mean, I don't really want to like focus too much on my obsession with Triumphs, but I mean,
can I scroll through the list
absolutely.
and see what I can find?
But in the meantime. Another a more recent movie that had Triumph. Two recent movies that had Triumph. Here I go. But there was Jurassic World, bad movie. But Chris Pratt rides a Triumph Scrambler 900, the street scrambler, which is actually really cool. Bad movie, cool bike, and you're riding it alongside Raptors. That was one cool scene.
That was a pretty cool scene. I'll give it that. That's it though.
Yeah, and then what was the other one I had in mind?
The Triumph?
Yeah.
Well,
there was
James Bond.
Oh, that's it. James
No
Bond, No Time to Die. And that one I felt pretty cool in because as that movie was having its promotions and hype and everything before it came out, Triumph had a big part in that. So the Triumph Scrambler 1200 and the Triumph Tiger 900 appear in that film. And those stuntmen are wild with those bikes. A lot of the scenes... did it actually involve the actual Scrambler 1200?
Yeah,
they had gutted it, obviously.
Yeah, I remember like noticing that. And
yeah, I read one article like the tires they put on it, the things they did to do like a bunch of weight reductions, like everything's been stripped from that bike. Like on your console, there was no TFT or anything. It's a red button to start.
Then they also they had the tiger in those when they were doing the chase scene in the woods.
Yeah.
Were they using the tigers for that?
Yeah.
900.
And yeah.
And I think those were like pretty stripped down as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, they had to be. You know.
That was a cool scene.
It was really cool, and I just remember some really funny moments about seeing that film, like with a bunch of motorcycle people. Is when James Bond gets off the bike. They're still in Italy.
Spain, Italy, some
They're in
southern
Europe.
European country.
It's on a cobble street. It's done with the chase. He gets off the scrambler, dumps it.
Yeah,
And
I
the
just
whole
remember he like
theater-
walks away and it just
Yeah.
like tips over on itself.
I cringed. The whole theater was like. But then another part in that one that just like even got me more hyped for a bike I already had was this stuntman like in that forest scene coming out into the field. Mm-hmm. You see all the cars and the bikes coming down. There's this one guy who just yeets this thing. You're just like, oh my goodness, like yeah. And plus like that engine note.
Yeah.
When
It's a
when he
beautiful
knocks that
engine
guy
note.
off
Yeah.
the bike and so cool.
Very cool.
So those are some two more recent ones. And I'll do one more and I'm going to shut up about that. But I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in like destiny or cosmic stars, or star signs, all that stuff. But one thing I found really cool is I somehow got really hooked on Triumphs. I just found them to be my favorite. And then a movie from my childhood involved a Triumph, which was the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, I rewatched those like a few months ago, I think, and that was like one of the first things I noticed because I haven't seen like the Harry Potter movies since I was a kid, basically.
Yeah.
Since like the last was it Deathly Hallows?
Yeah.
Since that one came out in theaters, I have not watched like any of them.
Yeah.
So I finally decided I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna watch them all the way through just because I felt like it. And that was the first thing I noticed is Hagrid rolling up, and I was like, that's a Bonnie right there.
That's a Bonnie
with a side cart.
Yep. And like, so that was the same kind of thing. I hadn't seen these movies forever. And then I was bored, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch some movies.
Yeah.
And it was already after I had my my Triumph. And I'm just sitting there watching the first one, and I was like, huh, that engine note sounds kind of familiar, even with like the Stuka like sound effect they put over it. He's coming into land. And then he pulls up and like, oh, that's a Triumph. That's a Bonneville.
It's that classic baby blue color too.
Yeah,
I think it had
yeah.
a little sky blue.
Yeah, so very cool. I was like, oh, Triumph's been here the whole time.
Maybe it was just destiny.
Maybe
right from the start.
Yeah, I don't believe in it, but yeah. And then, but I do have to hit back at the movie so a little bit because later on when Hagrid's bike comes back, it's not a Bonneville. It's not the same bike.
Royal Enfield.
Royal Enfield, still a good bike. It's a Bullet 500. If that's a brand.
I think that's still a pretty fun bike though.
Yeah, and I'm sure it is.
I think those, especially the new Royal Enfields.
Yeah,
I love how
good.
they look.
Yeah.
I absolutely love how they
But
look.
continuity.
That's true.
What, does Hagrid collect motorcycles of the same color? I don't know.
Maybe he does. Maybe he just upgraded.
Maybe.
Maybe instead of getting...
If I was that man's size, I would pick a 1200 over a 500. I'm just saying.
That's why he has the side carts for extra balance there. I mean, it can also fly, so...
Yeah.
There's a bonus there.
Yeah, fair. So.
You also had one earlier from the new Top Gun. Let's just talk about Tom Cruise in general for a second.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
I think that man likes motorcycles.
I think he does like motorcycles. And before we started, we were reading off one of the articles. He actually owns...
He owns a Triumph Bonneville that's like cut for a scrambler pipe.
Okay. Yeah.
Or he owns a Triumph of some. He owns a certain Triumph, but the one he rode in Mission Impossible 3.
You said he grabbed that from his own collection, right?
Either he grabbed that one from his own collection, or he grabbed one of them.
Okay.
He grabbed one of them that was used, and then, or he grabbed that one, and then one of the other ones that was used in the film auctioned for like $30,000.
That is so cool.
Like
that is crazy.
Yeah.
But you also had a. Can I?
Oh yeah. No.
Switch here. So from the new.
Entering the Tom Cruise chapter.
He kind of just deserves his own.
He writes so many.
His own chapter because this is all. We got Ducatis, we got Harleys, we got
Triumphs.
We got like 4 Triumphs
Kawasaki,
on here.
I think he rides a Suzuki in one of them.
Yeah, the Kawasaki's in 2. So, when you first mentioned Tom Cruise in the motorcycle, I just thought of one Mission Impossible because there was that. And I think it's the BMW one from Fallout.
Yeah, the R9T.
Maybe not the R9T. It's Rogue Nation. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking about. So the one from Rogue Nation.
Oh, the other, yeah.
Because they have that awesome chase scene on the freeway and stuff. And the crazy thing about it, like, none of it was like done on a track or CGI or anything. Like the dude rode at like hundreds of miles an hour without a helmet, without any gear, down a closed road, and like all the stunts happening behind him, they're actually happening.
Yeah.
And love him or hate him, like dude knows how to pull off his stunts.
Yeah.
With motorcycles. It's
I feel like
wild.
maybe those scenes where he didn't have his helmet, I don't know if those were real or not.
I think they were.
Were they? Mm-hmm. Dang.
I think they were. I'm willing to bet he's wearing some padding and stuff underneath like the clothes and things like that. But no, he actually did ride that bike at those speeds.
Yeah, I'm sure they cleaned those roads up too.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all controlled environment stuff like that. But that's still like a pretty big risk you're taking and things like that. But this is also the guy that held his breath underwater for 6 minutes for a scene.
Oh yeah.
Climbed the side of the world's tallest building.
Oh yeah, in Dubai, and then
hung onto the side of an airplane.
And another one involving a motorcycle. He rides it off a cliff.
Yep, he yeeted a motorcycle off a cliff and then parachuted onto a train.
Yeah,
like the dude's wild.
So, motorcycles are cool.
Yeah,
but Tom Cruise is. I think he makes them cooler.
He makes them cooler, and he does stuff that you should probably never do on the motorcycle yourself.
You're not Tom Cruise. I'm not Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
you're not Tom Cruise. Don't do it.
He probably has better health insurance than you.
Probably.
So
yeah.
I would just be careful what you do. But I also really like the scene from the new Top Gun Maverick where he's riding the H2.
Yeah.
And this is from like I come from a video background, so from like a video person, I just love especially the screenshot that they have here of him riding along the runway there with the airplane taking off from the back. It was just such a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
And just it just did a really good introduction to the character and the movie and stuff like that. But also that bike just looks absolutely aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, I really would love to try and ride one just to see how it feels, but
it's like
he is just hauling ass on it in the movie.
It's like Speed and Fear had a baby.
Yeah. like it's a super aggressive looking bike.
Oh, man. Like, wild. We learned a few things too. He's ridden more than one Triumph. He rode a Thruxton.
Got the speed triples on street triples on there.
What was the one he rode the Ducati Hypermotard in?
Yeah. It was in
it wasn't one of the Mission Impossibles, was it?
No, it was the one with Cameron Diaz?
Yeah, it's Cameron Diaz.
Okay.
Night and Day. Never seen it. So but no, so yeah, just some notable bikes and some pretty well known movies.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah. I think it's just cool how I mean, obviously he's clearly a fan.
Yeah.
But he really likes to utilize him in a lot of his movies, which I think is pretty fun.
Yeah, he's wild. So, and then, just because I did go on a tangent, and we're talking about well-known movies, like one that is like kind of like tied to another one that's kind of tied to Triumph's legend or their history, is a film I've never heard of or seen called The Wild One.
How familiar?
It had
with
a
it?
Bonneville Thunderbird TR6. I'd have to find it, but it was, this came out in like the late 50s, I believe. Again, I haven't seen it. I could just be making it up. It was a Thunderbird T6 or 6T.
That's pretty sick looking.
Yeah. One thing I came across reading about this film with Triumph is that at first Triumph was actually like, well, we don't want our brand and our company being associated with motorcycle gangs, and again, this was a long time ago.
Yeah, this is the old Triumph.
Yeah, but now they're saying, been on Triumph, and pretty much, I'm sure the audience and writers are like, this has a keystone in the Triumph legend for how the film was portrayed. 'Cause it's like one of the first movies about.
Yeah. I think we should watch this
Marlon
for the
Brando.
pod.
Yeah. What's that?
We should watch this for the pod.
Yeah, I think we should. So, see how it was.
Since we talk up Triumph so much.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I had just for like notable movies and like just kind of tying in like things that I've seen growing up and in my later years.
So this isn't a movie and this is not fictional, but one of my favorite pieces of media that involves motorcycles is Long Way Round.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Evan McGregor and Charlie Bowen. Mm-hmm. Bowman? Yeah. Bowman?
Yeah.
I think it's Bowman.
Borman.
Yeah.
Charlie Borman.
Borman. Yeah, Borman. Thank you. I watched that probably last year or year before that, and it's such a it was such a cool thing to watch.
It's amazing.
Yeah, just watching them like take on this round the world journey.
Yeah.
And then watching like the long way down and the long way up, and I don't know, it just makes you feel like, it gives you like, at least for me, it just gave me like this big sense of adventure, and maybe want to just like, I just want to hop on my bike and like ride it for an entire like month or two.
Yeah, if you haven't watched them, they're on Apple TV. They're awesome. What I really loved about the first one, The Long Way Round, was the you get to, I mean, Ewan McGregor, like he is famous, you know, but like that was like around the time, like, you know, Star Wars, the prequels were going on.
Yep.
You know, it was like he was I guess because of Star Wars he was hotter than he had been.
Yeah.
You know, not that he was ever like, he's always been pretty well known.
Yeah. But he's like even more well known at that moment.
Yeah, at that moment, you know, at that moment, so you see like this superstar celebrity, right? Mm-hmm. And he's struggling off-road, and he's, you know, and it's just, I don't know, it was just really cool to see how like because he really did struggle with that big bike.
They did, yeah. And it's kind of cool how at the beginning of the show they actually showed him like practicing and taking some lessons, and it was kind of one of my interesting facts I remember from that show is that initially KTM turned them down.
Yeah.
They don't want to like give them the bikes and sponsor them and stuff just because they thought it would be like too much, or they don't want their bikes to look bad in case they fail on the journey,
or they didn't think that they would succeed.
Yeah. And then they went to BMW, and BMW was basically like, there you go.
They're like,
take our GS adventures.
If you fail, it was you, not the bike.
Yeah, pretty much. But it was such a cool show just to see and have them ride around the world. But it's kind of interesting because, you know, they had like a full crew with them and stuff, even though they, you know, recorded each other and stuff like that, and the crew would just kind of meet them at separate checkpoints.
Yeah, I mean, but they were so remote, you had to have that kind of stuff.
But nowadays we see like people on YouTube, like Itchy Boots and so many, and they just do it all by themselves. So I'm just like, that's even more ballsy.
Yeah.
But props to like Emma McGregor and like Charlie Boorman to kind of like, you know, I don't think they were the first to circumnavigate on a motorcycle. No, because
they even talked to a guy who took the road before.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
And before YouTube and mass media and everything, I'm willing to bet money that they were not anywhere near the first. But like to have it documented that way. But
yeah, I think they were like the first to kind of like actually film it, document it, like make a whole series out of it and stuff. So it was just like really cool to see. And that's, I think, one of the movies that also kind of like set the GS up. Like it was pretty much like a massive marketing piece for them, because now they could tell people like, our bikes made it across the world.
Yeah.
KTM, look what you could have done.
Yeah.
But you didn't. Our bikes are better.
But to be fair to KTM, they are used a lot in like the Dakar rally.
100%.
Like, they're more than capable bikes. It was a bureaucratic decision.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Absolutely capable bikes. But like, no, I think it's a really, really fun show.
Heck, there's people who've done like transcontinental like trips on mopeds.
There's people that have done it on Groms.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy. But that's a really cool piece of media. That's nonfiction. I highly recommend people watch.
Yeah, and I recommend it because obviously, you know, you're here for motorcycles, so are we.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot of it just kind of like gives you a glimpse into like how much motorcycles can help you like find and discover in the world and within yourself.
That's true.
You know, because
I like that.
We've never done anything, and probably never will do like anywhere near anything as hard as them.
Probably not.
You know, another thing I'd be willing to bet money on. But at the same time, watching it and then the trips we have done, it's like I can't relate, but I can empathize of like,
exactly.
You can have rough moments on the road, and
you don't need to go on long trips and stuff to have that feeling on the motorcycle. No. Just riding up in the mountains on it,
just getting like, out of your funk and your bubble.
It's great.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it.
So with media, and before we wrap up here shortly, I wanted just to talk about fun like motorcycle tropes.
Let's get to the funny stuff.
That you see in movies and TV shows. And I'm going to start off with my favorite one, and it's when it comes to like gear and helmets, especially the helmets. You always see characters in TV shows like they just slide them on.
Yeah,
there's no resistance. They just like flop it on and then they ride off. Now, you know, before I got a motorcycle, that's kind of what I was picturing. Like you put on the helmet, it just slides right on, no problem. It's nothing like that. You gotta like, you know, slightly give it a tug and just like Like you can adjust it a little bit. Your hair is like in your eyes.
And with like a good fitting helmet, your face is gonna be a little scrunched. Like
oh yeah, it feels scrunched. And then when they get on somewhere on their bike and they're taking their helmet off, it's literally just like they just slide it off and put it on the bike. The hair is perfect. Their faces,
especially
like
with women riders and like film and TV, it's just like they got their long, luscious, beautiful hair, makeup's perfect, that comes off, and they're
it's all totally
it's like
fine.
They just came out of like the powder room.
Yep. And like you can take it off, and not only is your hair messed up, but like you get a little bit of marks on your cheeks from the helmet. You get like a little bit of an outline and things like that too.
If you're like me and you don't keep hair on the top of your head, you get like the helmet lining indents and like marks on your head.
Yep.
So
just like that, yeah. So I think it's always funny whenever I see a helmet go on and off in the movie, and it's just like nothing.
Yeah, I remember
it looks really cool.
Yeah,
it looks pretty badass when the person's like doing that.
I just
but it's
remembered.
So realistic.
I just remember too, like some of the pictures of like when we did our first like big Bear Lake ride. Mm-hmm. I was bald back then too, but I had like a really long, a lot longer beard. But that helmet I had, the first helmet, like when I took it off in the pictures, it's like my side, like my cheeks, the hair on my cheeks is like matted down, but in the front it's just like this like square block because like the helmet, the pads had like shaped it that way. It looks so funny.
And one of my other favorite tropes is just basically like getting off and like getting on the bike and getting it started.
Yeah,
it feels like half the time they don't even like turn the key or anything. They just hop on and just like, and then they just rev it, and then it just like drives off.
Yeah,
there's no like prep or checking anything, kicking the kickstand up, like nothing.
Or like even like or like when they go to park too, like rarely ever are you able to just like find an empty spot to pull into. Usually you gotta do like some like slow speed tight turn maneuver. You gotta back it in. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you'll go to park and it's like, oh, this isn't good ground for the kickstand.
Yep. They just make it so much easier, and I feel like they make riding look like way easier or way less hassle free than it is.
Yeah,
which it's absolutely not. It's even more of a hassle than like
100%.
Unless you're like if you don't, if you're not wearing safety gear, if you're just like riding like this, then maybe it's a little bit like pretty easy. But gotta gear up, gotta wear your helmet, like proper boots and gloves and all that stuff. It just kind of like takes some time before you can actually get on the bike and ride. Yeah. Versus just hopping onto it.
Some of my favorite tropes too are like when like I've already mentioned one, like it's like they're constantly shifting up. It's like like do it like 100 times. And it's like okay, well you guys never slowed down.
Yeah. Like how many gears do you have on that?
Yeah.
Thing?
Or
just never ending gearbox.
Yeah. Or like one of my other ones I always notice is like if there's like a motorcycle chase scene and they're shooting, it's like doesn't matter which hand, like if they're shooting right-handed, like their hands off the throttle but they're speeding up.
Yeah.
Or like they're still you still hear like the shifting, like the ring, but they're shooting with their left hand.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe if they have a quick shifter.
Or DCT.
They can work with that. Or DCT. So they'd be riding a Honda in that case.
Yeah, right. So it's just fun to see those. What was the other one I had?
Or the one where they to slow it down, they always like put it into a low side.
Oh yeah,
like slide and stuff like that. They're
like it's nothing.
Oh, and like an obstacle's coming up, and I can't stop in time, so you just drop the bike and they slide like 2 inches and then get back up, and I'm like, ooh, that would hurt in real life. Don't do it.
Or actually, we never even talked about video games like in Uncharted 4. Like,
oh my god,
they do like that they do a low slide under like a truck trailer and they get right back up. And it's like, well, enjoy your calf.
Granted, I could see that happening in real life if you're a really good rider.
Yeah,
and maybe not riding too up.
See, I don't know, because like you have to have like right conditions in real life, because I feel like you get to that point and like you've lost all traction on your tires.
That's true, and they were riding a pretty dinky bike too.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a very that's my favorite part in the game.
It was cool.
That scene.
It was cool,
but like I could see it happening like sort of on a very specialized bike if you know how to like balance it back out real quick. But I think it's going to be one of those like trials or like really like stunt.
It's going to be a built scenario.
Yeah.
Or one of the was it like in the Grand Theft Auto series, like the bike's never a high side or low side. Yeah, it's like if you go to like weird point you're on a low side, the bike just like wobbles back up and you just slide sideways.
That's true. That is true. GTA is always fun because you'd be riding the bike. Wonky. Yeah, the controls on them, and one of the funniest things, it's like a little sort of bug, like a physics bug in GTA 5, is when you're in the air, and a lot of games do this, you can control the direction of your bike, which we all know does not happen.
Right.
But if you like angle it at a certain angle long enough and kind of keep it there, it'll just keep going forever.
Wait, you mean I can't do that on my scrambler?
You're welcome to try.
Yeah.
I'll film it.
Yeah.
It'll go viral probably.
If Gleb shows up solo, you'll know why.
He yeeted it.
Yeah. He tried the glitch.
But I always thought it was funny. But no, I think that's a good point. Video games have so many funny like motorcycle tropes, and I always feel like a lot of them fail to just nail like the actual physics of riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You crash, they kind of just like either you fly off or they just kind of like bounce off whatever you're crashing into, and it's like you're just going your merry way. Except for that MotoGP game.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, I remember like I downloaded that, I tried it, I gave up because I was like, oh my god, this is the most difficult thing I've ever played.
I tried it, but I was on a keyboard and mouse because of my computer.
That makes it even harder.
It was tough, but it got to the point like I wasn't even like paying attention to like the graphics of the game or the bike. Mm-hmm. I was just looking at the tire sensors to like try and like tap to like and then I have to quickly look up and then correct to stay on track. That's tough.
Yeah, that game was difficult, but that's like a hyper realistic like basically a racing sim.
I need that hooked up to an actual bike, like on like a spin tread or something.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Get those leans.
But video games have, I feel like, even more crazy motorcycle tropes than
movies.
Than even movies. Yeah.
Yeah. There was one movie we saw when we were preparing on this too. There was one movie called Black Rain. I guess it was like a chase scene with dirt bikes. If you guys know, I would like to know. But it was but they put like inline 4-cylinder engines sounds over like dirt bike chase. So you get like you get your like Suzuki 250 thingy, just beep beep beep. You're supposed to hear, but you hear this. It was Movies are fun.
TV is fun.
Especially when they get it wrong.
Seeing motorcycles on TV is fun, and pointing out things that are wrong with motorcycles and movies and TV is also fun. But it's like...
Fair warning, if you ever show me a movie where it has motorcycle inaccuracies, you're going to hear about it probably.
Yeah.
So...
Probably same here. Or at least I'm going to be thinking about it very hard when I see it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much
for movies. I mean,
Any other tropes you can think of?
We talked about the hair. Oh, glasses. I'm sure. I feel like I've seen that like in movies. Like there's a character who wears glasses and they have a helmet, and it's just like helmet off.
Oh, yep. I could see that.
Yeah, but we're talking full face helmet.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know how that would work.
Yeah,
like trying to slide that on and off without messing up your glasses.
But yeah, this one was just like a fun little episode about things we like, and if you like movies or games, and
and motorcycles.
You can't forget about the motorcycles.
What you're really here for.
I would hope so.
Anyways, so I think that's kind of pretty much it, right?
We are going to be doing better with our social medias and all that stuff.
Like I said, very busy month this month.
Yeah,
kind of fell behind. Also, if you made it this far in the episode, if you are shopping for motorcycle gear and we value safety on this show, and you want to improve your safety or your new rider, and if you want to look cool, get your gear from RevZilla.com, and we are RevZilla affiliates, and we do have our affiliate link in the description of the episodes and in podcast description. So if you are currently shopping for gear or planning to in the future, feel free to use our link, and you'll help out the podcast. We'll get a little bit of a kickback from every purchase you make.
It won't cost you anything extra. You get all the same sales that RevZilla might be having at the time you buy. It
just helps us out, but it doesn't cost you anything.
We just get a small little kickback to help support the podcast. So,
and as always, feel free to email us at tdtmotorcycles@gmail.com and let us know about your rides, your bikes, your updates, or just give us your thoughts, suggestions, complaints, anything else. Let us know about your favorite motorcycle movie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, given the topic of this episode, just let us know if there was a movie that got you interested or some piece of cinema or media.
Well, what's your favorite motorcycle trope that you hate?
Oh, yeah.
Love to hate. And also, you can follow me on social media at Gleb Lapham.
I am at meetstothebeach.com, and we also have our...
.com.
Nope.
Just Meet to the
Just
Beach.
Meet to the Beach at Instagram. And then we have our
Instagram for podcast at tdtmotorcycles.
I said things might
not
get weird.
.com. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. He's out of town next week, so I think we might just have one episode for the month.
I can FaceTime in.
Maybe you can. No, I'm not gonna make you do that on vacation.
I will take pictures and videos of the Ace Cafe, though.
Yes, please bring some back for the next episode so we can show to the class.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Sorry if it's a little bit of a slower month, but yeah, we're excited to see you next time.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.